for everyone who has joined us so far, and for all of you that are watching this at a later date, because that is always the famous move of asking us, will there be a recording? So, hey, good for you girls. Thank you for commenting. Everyone will see in there. You have the ability to comment, which we'll touch on. But anyway, thank you all for joining us. Super excited to be talking about this. Obviously, we're going to specifically target a lot of this content towards the Q4 side since Q4 starts on Tuesday. But we're going to be talking about how you can basically maximize all of your Amazon sales from an off Amazon perspective, and how you can also leverage Amazon to improve your business from an off Amazon perspective. So we're going to be talking about all of these different omni-channel strategies, and we're going to just start diving right in here. The very first thing, obviously, we'll do our own little introductions here. Myself, I am Andrew Maffetone. I am the founder and CEO here at BlueTuskr. We are a full-service digital marketing company for e-commerce sellers that primarily specializes in doing a lot of these different omni-channel strategies. And these beautiful gentlemen that I have here with me, I will allow them to introduce themselves.
Yeah, I guess that's me. My name is Martin Zeruto, Director of Enterprise Brand Development at Quartile. Happy to have known Andrew for a bit now. You know, in the e-commerce world, I feel like there's a lot of circles that kind of intersect, and yeah, just excited to talk about how myself and Andrew, with obviously the guidance of JP from the source that is Amazon, can help a lot of brands in Q4.
Hey everybody, my name is JP Wolf, and I'm a senior PDM at Amazon on the Buy with Prime team. Joining everyone from the Mile High city of Denver, Colorado today. It is 85 and sunny, so you really couldn't draw up better weather to be inside hosting a webinar around Buy with Prime. So nice to be with all of you today.
Beautiful. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to skip over that. So obviously, there's a ton of stuff that we wanted to make sure, obviously, outside of making sure that we provided value to everyone, we wanted to make sure everyone walked away with something else outside of just this fun event that we're doing here. So we have a ton of stuff. There's a couple different gated content elements that we're going to be giving away, both from a retention side as well as an SEO side. We have, 4 or 5 different audits that we're giving away. In fact, it might even be more than that. And then we have several different offers. There's so much stuff that we wanted to just be like, hey, you know what? For everyone that took the time to actually join us today, we wanted to make sure that we had something nice for you. And because we came up with all these different ideas, there's actually just going to be a singular way for you to just say, like, yes, here's what I'm interested in kind of stuff. So we're going to touch on that, obviously, towards the end of the event today. So please make sure you stick around. Right around the time we do Q&A, we're going to let you guys know exactly how to submit for all this fun stuff and how you can get it. A little bit of housekeeping, as some of you have already seen, up on I believe it's on the right-hand side, you will see a little chat and like Q&A section. Have at it. You got questions, comments, concerns as we're doing all this stuff, please let us know. We try to make this as kind of conversational as possible and make this more of, you know, a kind of intimate thing. However, you could also just comment and be like, hey, you guys look so handsome and I don't care what you're talking about, which will also just feel nice. One of the things that I want to kick off, so the way we're going to kind of go through this, we're going to let JP give us a little bit of insight here specifically into the Buy with Prime side, because that is also a lot around specifically what myself and Martin are going to talk about. I am going to launch a poll real quick because I am kind of curious as to how many people are an Amazon seller that are already leveraging Buy with Prime, or if you're not, because it's going to kind of help us start to steer this conversation. So I'm going to publish that right now, which you should see showing up on your screen. But we will also go ahead and get moving here and start to see what's going on. So JP, you ready to do this, buddy?
Let's go. Pass me the baton.
All right. You tell me when, because I am the slide owner today. So you're up. All you.
Right. Thanks for hosting this, Andrew. Again, my name is JP, Partnership Manager over at Amazon. And today I'm going to cover 2 topics before handing the baton over to Quartile and BlueTuskr. The first is to give you a quick overview of Buy with Prime, which is a new solution offered by Amazon to help DTC brands grow their business. And the second topic is going to be the different marketing and advertising tools that the Buy with Prime solution gives sellers to help them have a good Q4 ahead. And with that, I'll just jump in real quick to what Buy with Prime is. Like I said, it's a pretty new solution that's only been in market since 2023. So maybe some of you have seen it. Maybe some of you had not had a chance to check it out yet. But the way I like to describe what Buy with Prime is usually by asking the person I'm talking to, are you an Amazon Prime member? And the answer usually almost always is yes. And the thing we like about being Prime members is we get free and fast shipping on Amazon.com. We have a very high level of trust and confidence that we can hop on Amazon.com, find what we're looking for, order something today, like on a Thursday, and know that you're going to have it in time for the weekend and for free, right? That's what we love about being Prime members. And what Buy with Prime is for shoppers and Prime members is it gives you the ability to use your Prime membership to get that same free and fast shipping you're used to on Amazon.com on websites off of Amazon.com. And you can see a quick visual here on this slide on kind of what it looks like out in the wild. You typically see the Buy with Prime button on a product detail page that says free delivery as soon as tomorrow. It'll actually ping the IP address based on where you're browsing from to say whether you're going to get it tomorrow or within 2 days. But when you click that button, you're asked to sign into your Amazon account, but you can skip that step if you're logged in on that device, whether it's on your desktop or you have the app logged into on your smartphone, which is where a lot of us do our shopping. And then it lands you on your Amazon wallet where you can use your stored addresses and payment methods from your Amazon account to check out. So you can see here, you can check out in as little as 2 clicks. Reduces a lot of friction at checkout and makes it easy to check out. And again, gives you that same free fast delivery that you're used to on Amazon. So Prime shoppers love it. And Andrew, I'll have you go to the next slide. And you can, I think it's, obvious to see why Prime shoppers would like it. But, we've seen studies that show 69% of shoppers say that free shipping is the number one reason they're likely to make a purchase online. The number one thing consumers would change about online shopping is faster delivery. Then 70% of consumers wish that retailers and brands offered similar services as to Amazon Prime. So pretty clear to see why Prime shoppers like it. And hopefully all of you as Prime members on this call are now aware that you've got a new benefit when it comes to your Prime membership. Next slide.
According to our poll results, 66% of people that are on this event right now do not have Buy with Prime.
Interesting.
We all started somewhere.
Well, let me tell. So we talked about like why shoppers love it and using their Prime membership for Buy with Prime. But on the flip side, I want to talk about what sellers and the large percentage of you here that could use Buy with Prime would really like about it, offering on your direct consumer website. And just a quick disclaimer, in order to offer Buy with Prime on your website, 2 things need to be true. You need to have an active Seller Central account at Amazon. And the second thing is you need to be using or be willing to use Fulfillment by Amazon, aka FBA, in order to offer it. And the good news is that I imagine a lot of you on this call who have DTC brands are also selling on Amazon and check those boxes. But for sellers that adopt Buy with Prime, there's a couple things I'll call out on this slide. Number one, you're going to increase your conversion. We see a 25% increase in conversion when sellers offer the Buy with Prime button. And that number actually goes all the way up to 38% when you implement reviews from Amazon alongside Buy with Prime, which I'll touch on here in a couple slides. But when you start thinking about increasing conversion by those numbers, that 25%, that 38%, that's super impactful to your business. The second thing that sellers like about Buy with Prime is access to shopper data. So as a lot of you know, when you're selling on Amazon, you don't get a ton of data to be able to follow up with your Amazon shoppers post-purchase. However, each time a Prime shopper uses Buy with Prime on your DTC website, you do get access to information like their shipping address, email address, contact info, so you can really retarget and remarket to those Prime shoppers to increase their lifetime value. And the last thing I'll call out just of what brands that offer Buy with Prime really like about it is it's free to try, doesn't cost you anything to get up and running, no long-term contracts, pay-as-you-go model with no monthly fees, and you can toggle the Buy with Prime button on and off at any time on demand. So those are a few things to call out, again, on things we see that sellers really like around Buy with Prime.
Real quick, we had a question from Julie. Does Buy with Prime then pull inventory from Amazon's warehouse or the D2C fulfillment?
Great question. From the Amazon warehouse. As a part of the onboarding and setup process for Buy with Prime, you link your Buy with Prime account to your Seller Central account /FBA inventory. And every time someone checks out with Buy with Prime, that shipment is getting handled out of your Amazon inventory. Good question. Next slide, sir. I'm just reiterating in big, bold letters, numbers, 25% increase on shopper conversion uplift to hit you with that statistic again. Next slide. Reviews from Amazon. So one other quick highlight of Buy with Prime before I talk about marketing and advertising tools that we give customers with Buy with Prime is reviews from Amazon. There was a study done by Review Trackers that showed 92% of consumers use reviews to guide their purchasing decisions. And another study showed that 93% of consumers read online reviews before purchasing. With that in mind, we give Buy with Prime brands the ability to pull in their Amazon.com reviews onto the DTC website for products where you're offering Buy with Prime. And that's where we see the 38% increase in conversion when folks offer Buy with Prime plus reviews from Amazon. And anecdotally, I talked to a lot of brands. Andrew, I think you said you've talked to 6 brands about Buy with Prime this week. I bet I have you beat.
I would hope.
Yeah, I bet I have you beat. One thing I see a lot is like the same product that they're selling on Amazon will have hundreds of reviews, if not thousands of reviews of like 4.5 and above, like really good ratings. That same product listed on their DTC has like a fraction of the reviews. So I think pulling in those Amazon.com reviews is super powerful. Give shoppers one less reason to leave your website and go check on Amazon. And even if you're not using Buy with Prime and reviews from Amazon, like it's always important to encourage your customers to leave reviews and make it easy for them to leave reviews, whether that's a post-purchase follow-up, asking how their experience was or how their product was, or offering them like a coupon or discount to leave a review. Anything you can do to make it as easy as possible for people to leave reviews is going to end up helping you in the end, because again, people really do lean on reviews as they're making purchases online. Next slide. Thank you. All right, so we talked about Buy with Prime and why shoppers like it, why brands who are offering it like it. Just want to touch on real quick some marketing tools and some advertising tools we offer. So when you adopt Buy with Prime, one of the great tools you get access to is the Buy with Prime Marketing Toolkit. This is a toolkit that gives you the ability to use the Buy with Prime badge and brand guidelines to create custom marketing assets for campaigns to reach your existing customers. Especially now that you'd be capturing Amazon Prime customers' information, you can start to retarget them to let them know you've got more great Buy with Prime deals on your DTC website, where you can increase the customer's lifetime value. And on the next couple of slides, I'll just show you a couple of quick examples of where people are using the marketing toolkit. You'll see social ads on Facebook and Instagram. There's a study that showed 37% of Meta users are going to make purchases through Meta ads in 2024. And another study from Hootsuite that showed 35% of all Instagram users are going to make social purchases through ads this year. So having the Buy with Prime branding on your Instagram and Meta ads is a great way to reach a huge audience in the holiday season, letting them know they can get free and fast shipping for those last minute purchases. Like having that free and fast shipping plus Buy with Prime branding on your social ads, letting people know that they can still get what they're ordering in time for Christmas up to like December 23rd or 24th is huge. Next slide. Also, you can use your email marketing tools to re-engage shoppers who abandon like the checkout or shopping cart and create personalized outreach email campaigns for Prime members. You can connect your Buy with Prime account to your email marketing providers for ease of use. And for example, Sherpani, you'll see down here, saw over 30% higher checkout through abandoned checkout email flow using the Klaviyo app with the Buy with Prime app compared to the abandoned checkout flow that they were not using Buy with Prime. So really good results using it through your existing email marketing apps. Next slide. And last thing before I hand it over to Quartile is talked about a couple marketing tips and tricks you can use with Buy with Prime. Now I just want to quickly touch on DSP for Buy with Prime. Some of you may already be doing Amazon DSP, but just to level set on what it is, it's a programmatic ad that allows advertisers like Quartile to reach audiences on and off Amazon. Like an example would be I'm browsing ESPN.com on Sunday, checking for some NFL scores, and I see an ad pop up on ESPN that if I click, directs me to Amazon, to a product detail page, to a product that advertiser thinks I may be interested in. And what DSP for Buy with Prime gives brands is an advertising solution that allows you to reach purchase-ready shoppers who have viewed your products on Amazon.com, drive them towards your e-commerce DTC website. And Amazon DSP is the only ASIN level marketing tool that can direct shoppers back to your Buy with Prime enabled products on your e-commerce website. And I think the next slide shares a good story. Shoppers search for products or view detail pages on Amazon.com of your product or competitive products similar to you. You can then get that information and retarget them with branded display ads on sites beyond Amazon.com. You'll see here, I'm reading an article about having healthier hair. Who doesn't want healthier hair? And I get this Organique Buy with Prime ad at the bottom. When I click that, directs me to their DTC website where Buy with Prime is enabled on the PDP page where you can quickly convert that shopper. Next slide. And just want to call out some cool retargeting things you can do with DSP with Buy with Prime. You'll see at the top, Dragon Glassware built an audience for this ad based on people engaging with the Barbie movie on Prime Video and IMDb. You'll see Beast Health in the middle, building an ad audience of shoppers who viewed blenders and other brands who bought protein powder from Whole Foods. And then you'll see on the bottom for Hey Dude, a great casual shoe company, using Amazon DSP geo-targeting capabilities to show these Texas Longhorn shoes to audiences only in Texas. Pretty cool stuff there. Next slide. Last slide. Last but not least, before I turn it over to Quartile and BlueTuskr, it's easy for me to say here at Amazon all the wonderful things about Buy with Prime and DSP for Buy with Prime, but don't take it from me. Take it from our Buy with Prime partners like BlueTuskr and Quartile, who have enabled this product with a lot of customers over the last couple of years. BlueTuskr is awesome when it comes to like implementing Buy with Prime on your website, answering any questions you may have, and giving you an idea of what Buy with Prime could look like on your website. And Quartile is a trusted Amazon DSP advertiser that can help you with all of your Amazon advertising needs. So thanks to everyone for kind of hearing my overview of Buy with Prime and some of the cool ways you can put it to work here ahead of Q4. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass the baton. Thanks.
Beautiful. Before I take over here, I got another question for you from Bill. What about not having to pay the 15% you have to give to Amazon if you sell as a merchant? What's the trade-off ratio?
Yep. So the Buy with Prime transaction, typically more cost-effective than an Amazon transaction. Instead of paying the 15 to 18% fee that you pay on Amazon.com, that is drastically reduced down to 3% or $1 minimum with the Buy with Prime transaction. So from 15 to 18% down to 3%. And if any of you have specific questions about what a Buy with Prime, cost of transaction would look like for you, hit up Andrew, hit us up. I'm happy to give you like a side-by-side comparison of what that cost breakdown would look like.
Yeah. And I know right now one of the giveaways we're doing at the end is you're waiving that 3% for the rest of this year, right?
Yep. We have a promotion going on where we are waiving that 3% Prime service fee. So if you're interested in learning more and seeing if you qualify, definitely let us know.
Beautiful.
Did
All
I
right.
hear that correctly? Amazon is waiving fees? Is that like breaking news?
It's the first time ever. So obviously, again, I'm going to take over here. JP, thank you very much for the layup there. So I'm going to tell everyone a little bit of a story on why I'm even here and doing this right now. So years ago, I actually had the amazing opportunity to sit next to my wife and watch her shop. And so I want to explain what she did. She got hit with an Instagram ad, very typical Instagram ad kind of thing, pastels, all that fun stuff. She clicked on the ad, went to their website, checked out the website, filled out the pop-up, and then wanted to do a little bit more due diligence and thought she might want to get it in the next couple of days. So she went to Amazon. So obviously she searched the product in Amazon, found the listing, went to the listing, did some research in the listing, saw some of the reviews, remembered the pop-up that she had filled out. And so she actually went and Googled them again to find them, clicked on their Google ad, went to their website, got hit by another pop-up, filled out the pop-up, got the discount in her email, grabbed her email, went to the PDP and made the sale. If you are in marketing, you want to strangle that customer. Like you can't, every single thing that you just did took credit for that one sale, right? And so if you're marketing, you're sitting here looking at this and you go, oh my God, like this, how do you know what's working if the customer journey is that fluid? Now, I know that this is a very, outlandish experience, but I've seen it happen many, many times. And I've seen her also do it where she gets hit with an ad, she goes to their website, and then she goes over to Amazon and just buys it on Amazon because she needs it in the next couple of days. So I started noticing this. This was many, many years ago. And so years ago, after I started seeing this, one of the things we did is we started to do a bunch of tests to kind of evaluate how fluid is the customer journey. And so one of the things we did with the brands that we worked with is we left all of their marketing alone. We changed nothing drastically, everything maintained. There was no crazy elements in place. The only thing that we did is we increased, at the time it was called Facebook, but meta ad spend by 10%. And what we saw is about a 6 to 7% subsequent increase on their website in revenue. So it wasn't the full, we jacked it up by 10%. We would expect to see about a 10% increase. But what actually happened is we saw another 3 to 4% increase on Facebook. And then when we cut that spend back down, it pulled back. We did this for countless brands. And what we started to realize is a lot of people were just going straight to Amazon. So before Buy with Prime existed and before JP was thankfully brought into my life, I used to just create these buttons. So you can kind of see here, there's this like available on Amazon button. And so on your PDP, we actually used to take the buy now button right underneath it. We'd have an available on Amazon button. And we would just send people straight to the listing. Because when I saw my wife shopping and she would go to Amazon and do the search, she'd get hit with all of the other competition. And so they'd be getting in the way. As I go, okay, I want them to get straight to the listing. Then, of course, Buy with Prime came out and I was 100% on board because it makes so much more sense to be able to keep that data now and have, all of their name, their last name, email, etc. So having all of that data was the biggest problem. And the thing that I loved about it from a marketing perspective is the integration with Google, Meta, Klaviyo, etc. So we can actually see who's actually converting, because even though we were sending people to the listings in the past, I couldn't tell if they were converting. Even with Amazon attribution, once that came out, while we could tell that they were converting, Amazon attribution doesn't talk to those other platforms. So there's no way for us to actually optimize for purchases. We can only optimize for clicks, which if you've ever done that, never works. So obviously, I think a little over a year ago now, if not even a little more than that, I started working with the Buy with Prime team, implementing it on a ton of different brand sites. At this point, I'm sure we've done dozens of them, helped them implement them on a ton of sites. We've done a couple case studies with the Buy with Prime team. And one of the things I wanted to make sure that we talked about in this event was not just the Buy with Prime functionality, but omnichannel in general, because there are situations where leveraging the Buy with Prime functionality doesn't always make as much sense at face value. And some products, it really just doesn't make sense to have it on. Luckily, you can have it on for some products and turn it off for others. But I wanted to make sure that, respectfully to JP and his team, I kept this as unbiased as possible to how you can leverage the functionality in multiple different ways. In this scenario, we had actually implemented it onto someone's site, and we saw an immediate conversion rate improvement, not only from the additional sales they got on Buy with Prime, but their actual regular, like normal conversions increased as well. The theory behind this was actually around, you're getting the Amazon branding on your site, which brings a little bit more of a legitimacy to the product line. So if you have people that are visiting the site, they're first-time buyers, sometimes they really like the trust that Amazon has just gained. They know they can get it in a couple of days. They're familiar with the return policy. So that conversion rate started to really see an improvement. Now there's a ton of different ways that you can actually get them to come back and all that fun stuff, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So I wanted to pivot this and make sure that we kind of stay focused Q4 as much as possible. However, a lot of this stuff can definitely be done really whenever you want it to be. It's just however you leverage it. And I'm just going to talk on some of the basic strategies, right? So you have your standard stuff, your SEO, your retention, paid media, typical doing like sales and promotions, which is always very heavy in Q4. And influencer marketing, there's definitely ways to do that. And even postcards, which shocker actually do really well. And I'll touch on those too. And then how to kind of combine all of these together. And so all of this is going to be based off of stuff that we've done in the past that I've seen it's worked. There's certain product lines where it works fantastic. There's other product lines where it doesn't work at all. So it's one of those things of like, you have to look at knowing your customer and how you're going to leverage this type of data. But even in some of the pictures here, this is all campaigns that we had launched, leveraging the Buy with Prime functionality while also making sure that we were still catering a little bit to the D2C site. So a lot of the things that, from a retention perspective, right? So let's stick to that first. And when I say retention, I'm talking primarily email, SMS, rewards programs, that kind of stuff. One of the things I've always loved doing with this functionality is actually creating a drip campaign. So if you're able to pull in someone's subscription or someone's email, fantastic. Sometimes what I like to do is separate them out if they haven't made a purchase from us at all in the past. And so that way I can give them a little bit different messaging. And in some cases, that could be that the barrier to entry was to actually get them to convert. And so by actually creating retention campaigns that is encouraging them to acknowledge the fact that we have Buy with Prime, that they can actually make the purchase through Amazon's Prime functionality, that they can get the benefit of, 2 days and have the returns and all that stuff. It's a great way for us to have kind of a fail-safe option if we haven't been able to get them to convert through the D2C site. The other side of it, thankfully for this, we're Klaviyo partners, so I cater to Klaviyo. However, we've done it a few times in MailChimp, which I know Buy with Prime integrates with, and there's a few others, I think. But segmenting out these customers. So everyone who uses the Buy with Prime functionality can get fed into Klaviyo, and you can tag them as separate customers. And that's the part that I really like, because now you can start to understand which of your customers is more likely to shop on Amazon than they might be on your D2C site. And so you can adjust that messaging or really leverage that audience. And I'm going to kind of walk through a little bit of those now, one of which is product launches. I love doing product launches through the Buy with Prime data. I'll touch on it on the paid side too, but specific to retention, everyone that makes a purchase through Buy with Prime gets segmented into Klaviyo. I now know who's likely to shop on Amazon. So if you launch a new product on Amazon, you've got that like 30 to 60 day some odd honeymoon period where your organic ranking is a little bit higher than normal and you're getting a little bit more traffic. But if it doesn't do well, it starts to fall. So you take this list and actually do an incentive with them because they're more likely to shop on Amazon, and send them directly to Amazon. Get them to purchase there, get your sales volume up, get some reviews going. It will benefit you to get that product's organic ranking back up, and then you just pivot that traffic back to your website. So there's a bunch of different ways where you can leverage this data to actually benefit your Amazon business. And now that Buy with Prime and the DSP integration allows you to send traffic from Amazon back to your website, there's a ton of different ways that you can actually flip all that stuff around too. And then even from the automation side, as I mentioned, there's the drip campaigns, et cetera. But even within your standard automations, sometimes your welcome series, but like your abandoned carts, your new customers, repeat customers, your customer win-backs, all of those, setting those up and acknowledging that Buy with Prime is an option for them to have as another way for them to check out while benefiting from the Prime benefits that they get is a great way to keep that barrier entry a little bit lower if they were more hesitant to purchase with you. From the paid side, it's a similar concept. So Buy with Prime specifically integrates with Google Ads and Meta Ads. Years ago, we used to just add an event tag to that available on Amazon button. And so anyone that clicked on it, we would create a separate segment of them. I knew that they were interested in Amazon, and so we would do it that way, but I could never tell if they actually converted. Luckily, with Buy with Prime, you can do both. You can actually create an event on it just to know who actually clicked on it, and you can create it to knowing who actually converted. And so now you can actually run these ads. So it's a similar concept of if you're doing a product launch, I can segment out my audience that I know is interested in shopping on Amazon, send them straight to Amazon just for that product launch, and then pivot my traffic back to my website. So having that kind of data of knowing which of your customers is shopping over to Amazon is fantastic. I know that, and JP, earmuffs, everyone at Amazon, D2C sites, you guys tend to look at Amazon as like the devil. Like, right, they're hiding your data. They, you don't want them to know anything, blah, blah. While I understand the concept, I don't necessarily agree with it, because now they're finally giving opportunity to really develop these omni-channel strategies, and using that kind of data and working with them where you can actually benefit from the added like brand awareness that they have, especially with Prime. This works fantastically. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. As JP mentioned, adding the Buy with Prime logo onto the ads, like we did in a couple of these campaigns here, can work out really well if you want to lean into it. Some brands, the aesthetic, it doesn't always line up. So there's certain ways that you can kind of play with it. But having this is getting more and more interesting, especially because consumers are becoming more and more used to it, especially as we start to see these really, really big brands are really starting to use it a lot more, in which case it's just going to be a domino effect, and it's going to become more of consumers just expect you to have it. And so that's where starting to cater to, hey, we have this, really helps lower that barrier to entry. Now, from an SEO side, it's very interesting. So when I talk about the SEO side, it's always like, okay, how does SEO on my site affect Amazon? And I can give you one clear example. You can see one of the pictures here is a brand we've worked with a few times called Amazfit. Basically, what we've done with them and a few others is focused on their SEO for their D2C side, but also incorporating the different listing URLs in their content that we're creating. So if you're creating a blog, you always want to link over to the product pages, your collection pages, etc. But you actually can start to do it for Amazon as well. And the reason that we do that is because every page on the internet has a page authority, and then your domain has a domain authority. And without making this a big SEO event here, basically what that means is every page has its own ranking, right? Same thing with your Amazon listings. And so if you can actually improve the page authority of your Amazon listing, like we were able to do here with Amazfit, you start to go up the ranking to the point where your ranking for your listing goes higher up in Google. So when people are searching for things, they are more likely to click on your listing, which then takes them to Amazon. They convert, which obviously improves your overall ranking on Amazon. So the organic benefit that you get from Google and or Bing also helps the organic side of Amazon. So you can actually find a way to improve the business on the D2C side as well as the Amazon side, especially from an SEO perspective. And then having that type of custom imagery throughout your articles. So like a lot of people, they create blog articles, they just throw up copy and they're like, I'm getting all this traffic to my blogs, but it's not really converting. So why am I doing this? That's typically because you're not adding in the different elements to your blog to actually incentivize people to do something. And that's really as easy as just creating your own custom imagery and calling out certain incentives or certain products, certain collections, etc., and adding in that type of Buy with Prime, or at least A/B testing that Buy with Prime branding within it, gives you that opportunity to actually send people to these products knowing that it's a functionality to reduce that barrier to entry. There's a ton of other stuff, and I could do this for all day, as I'm sure you can already tell. So I was like, all right, for this last slide, I'm just going to put a bunch of stuff together because it's all in how you get a lot of this stuff to work. And especially for Q4, this is a great time to lean into it. We saw a lot of this last year as well, where I'm sure everyone here knows, most of your shipping on D2C sites tends to be, hey, you're going to get it in 5 to 7 business days towards the end of the year. We're in Q4. That means that like a handful of days before, let's say like Christmas or something, your sales drop off. Well, by using Buy with Prime, you're now buying yourself another 2 to 3, maybe even 4 days, because people can buy it and get it guaranteed to them within a day or two of the holidays. So those last minute shoppers, which I am notorious for, this really benefits them as well and buys you a few extra days also. So doing stuff like promotions directly through Buy with Prime. So one of the things you can do is actually have, like, if you were to do a 20% off your website, something basic like that. You would do that on Shopify or whichever platform you have. You can do the same thing on Buy with Prime, either together or completely separately. So Buy with Prime has a promotion functionality where you can say, hey, we're doing 20% off all of our Buy with Prime eligible products. And so doing something like that can incentivize people to go that direction, or vice versa, however you want to play with it. The influencer side works really well too. We've started to play with some of the influencers referencing that, they have Buy with Prime. I bought it off Amazon on their site and kind of explaining how the functionality works. Of course, then you have creator connections. So there's a great way to start to leverage that audience there to get them straight to Amazon. Postcards work really well. I don't think anyone should be sleeping on postcards. And the reason I say that, I know it's interesting, but the reason I say this is years and years and years ago, you used to get a ton of stuff in the mail and people would throw it away. And now it's your email, right? You get so much stuff in your email that you're just like, get it out. And you just delete it all. You don't even read any of it. But what's happened is there's not as much in the mailbox anymore. So the competition is significantly lower, and you can leverage your digital data to actually affect that. So for example, there's a bunch of platforms out there like Postpilot and things like that that integrate with stuff like Klaviyo, where you can send an abandoned cart postcard, or you can send a new customer thank you postcard, and it's set on an automatic trigger as opposed to just one big blast. But using stuff like that, you can implement all of your different design elements to include either, hey, come back to our site and, here's X% off, or however you want to do that. And you can also have the ability for them to either go straight to Amazon, or you can have them go to a PDP that already has a Buy with Prime on it. There's a ton of different ways to turn that around. Same thing with product inserts. If you're implementing all the different inserts into your products, which you absolutely should be doing for upsells and subscription opportunities, et cetera, there's a ton of different ways where you can leverage that Buy with Prime functionality, or just sending them straight to Amazon. But either way, collectively throughout all of this stuff, there's so many different ways that you can get it all to work together, where you can we come across a lot of brands that really want to focus on improving their Amazon business, but really want to start to diversify and not be so reliant on it. And there's a great way to leverage your existing data to improve your Amazon business. And now, thanks to DSP connecting and actually being able to send traffic to your site from Amazon, there's a great way to go the other direction. So you can truly diversify and really start to build out these more omni-channel strategies across all the different efforts that you have in place. Ooh. And that is where this beautiful Martin is going to take it.
I was like, that's the best segue I've heard in a while. Like, wow.
I got it.
I was going to pull from what you said, like, speaking of putting everything together, but you kind of tossed it up and set it up nicely. Before I get going, question to Andrew and JP. Where was the last place you bought a postcard from?
Oh, that I bought a postcard from.
Yeah, or that you were somebody.
I almost bought one in Seattle when we were at Accelerate, and I didn't, because
why not? You're in Seattle.
I was like, yeah, why? Oh, where was I? I did just do one like 6 months ago, only because I thought it was funny.
Oh, nice. It was like a gag postcard.
Yeah, and I hand wrote it, which was hilarious.
Oh, that's
when's the last time you hand wrote anything?
Oh, I was in, I think I was in London. And I was like, I want to try, like, isn't this where, like, mail was invented? Correct me if I'm wrong, historians. But I was like, okay, cool. I would send a postcard in the post, like an Englishman. And I was like, oh, let me, and I had to, it was a really cool process. You have to go to, like, and you have to write it in. There's, like, a different way of doing it. But that was pretty cool. Yeah. I'm geeking out over postcards. JP, what about you?
I think I'm over on postcard purchases lifetime. Not the postcard target audience by any stretch.
Oh, there you go. So, but you're not buying them, but you're happy to receive them, maybe?
Would love to receive them. Absolutely.
All right. So
keep me in mind on your next trip.
For the 22 brand owners here, if you're looking to capture an untapped market, JP Wolf's address and mailbox is wide open for postcard marketing. But I digress. Anyway, so we're here talking about, putting everything together. So outside of the paid advertising and the SEO and the email marketing and all the wonderful things that Andrew was talking about, and leveraging and getting traffic to your Buy with Prime listings on your website, how do you leverage Amazon ads itself, right? And so for those who might be familiar with DSP, this might be a little bit of a refresher for you, but for those who are brand new, so what exactly is Amazon DSP? It stands for Demand Side Platform, and it's a unique Amazon ad type. So there's sponsored products, sponsored brand videos, sponsored display. DSP is something that's programmatic, and it allows advertisers to buy ads, banners, videos, and even audio ads. And you can actually use them both on Amazon as well as off Amazon, which is where the Buy with Prime play comes in. And one of the biggest benefits of Amazon DSP is that it lets you tap into Amazon's huge amount of data about shoppers. So we were talking about, hey, does Amazon withhold some of that data? Is it better to have your own website because then now you control all the data? Well, now DSP allows you to actually leverage a lot of that first-party data about Amazon shoppers, and this data helps you actually show your ads to people who are more likely to be interested in what you're selling based on what they've searched for, browsed for, and what they bought in the past. So there's no more guesswork of like, hey, age demographic, 18 to 35, male, living near the beach. Maybe they like surfboards. It's absolutely more granular and more targeted that way. It's really based off of what they're looking for online, what they browsed, what they bought in the past, and showing these ads to people who are ready to actually convert and buy. So with Amazon DSP, you're not just guessing on who might see your ad, you're actually targeting and engaging people who are already likely and already interested in potentially buying your product. Now, what does that mean in terms of driving qualified sales? So, what does that mean in terms of utilizing it with Buy with Prime? So if we're combining DSP with Buy with Prime, it's a smart way to reach shoppers because they're ready to buy even when they're not on Amazon, right? People go on Amazon, is very intent-based. They're going to type in a search word, a keyword, whatever, right? But as they're browsing through the internet, there's a million different intentions. There's a million different reasons for them to be online. But those are all signals that DSP is utilizing to be able to show their ads to these customers that you're targeting, depending on their interests or their behavior, the context, right? So with Buy with Prime, it lets customers check out using Amazon's, like we've talked about, trusted and convenient checkout system. But now you're using DSP so that you can actually drive traffic to your site by targeting people who are already Amazon shoppers. So not only do you don't have to convince them like, hey, Buy with Prime is super easy. They use Buy with Prime. They're already familiar with buying stuff on Amazon. But now, as they're going through the internet off Amazon, you're bringing those traffic, you bring the shoppers back to your website. You're reaching high intent Amazon shoppers, even off Amazon, to boost your website and traffic sales. So DSP uses data on how people shop and what they're interested in and what they bought before, and show the ads, and it kind of is like a feedback loop. It's a combination of increasing your sales and growing your business by reaching the right customers at the right time, no matter where they are on the internet. I know that sounds kind of like big brothery, like, hey, DSP knows exactly where you're going and the interest that you have. But honestly, when you find yourself browsing the internet and you're like, oh, I totally needed to buy that. Or like, oh, you know what? I follow this brand and now they're releasing this thing that I've been looking for. Like for me, I love luggage. For the audience segment that loves like Japanese like clothes, like Uniqlo and like Muji, that loves Zara and like Away and Hermanos furniture luggage, that whole demo, I've been DSP'd to wazoo. Like they know exactly who I am in terms of my target audience. And it's, for me, I find it enjoyable because when these things come out, new products, new promotions, and there's an ability for me to buy some of these products through Buy with Prime, it's such a natural progression for me as a shopper. You know what I'm looking for, you know what I'm interested in, I know I can get it tomorrow. What's the problem here, right? If we go to the next slide, what does that mean when you're driving, high intent shoppers, targeting high intent shoppers, right? So DSP helps you attract the shoppers who are most likely to buy using audience segmentation. So this means that you can show ads to specific groups of people, like those who have already interacted with your brand or have shown interest in similar products. So some of you who have already been around for a couple of years, DSP is perfect because there's already exposure and engagement with some of your customers, but you're now reaching them in a new way utilizing DSP. For example, you can target people who recently browsed products on Amazon that are similar to yours. And by focusing on these high intent shoppers, you're actually more likely to get relevant traffic because people who are closer to making a purchase decision are actually now going to your website versus people who are kind of still in that research, exploratory consideration phase. They're actually ready to make that purchase a little bit lower on the funnel. And a really cool thing is also utilizing lookalike audiences. So, at Quartile, when we work with brands, sometimes brand owners come in and they already have a set idea of who their customer is, who their audience is. And, when we're running ads, whether it's DSP or PPC, what we quickly realize is like, wait a minute, some people who love to buy a really nice premium soap actually loves to go to the barber and get their hair cut and likes to buy beard oil and actually likes to buy really premium products that are like leather and like made in Italy. And like actually this type of person or persona or audience is actually a premium type shopper. And so you're looking at a lot of these signals that you may not have identified before as your typical customer. And what, again, this means utilizing DSP for Buy with Prime and looking at these lookalike audiences is that you're reaching people who have a lot in common with those who have already bought from you. So not only are you trying to retarget and remarket people who have considered your product and bought your product before, you're reaching people who are similar to those people who also have a high likelihood of converting. And because these new shoppers are similar to your existing ones, obviously there's a higher likelihood of being interested in buying, and it's a higher quality traffic. right? We're in 2024. There's a million ways of generating traffic to your website, but it's not so much a quantity game, but it's a quality game. What is the quality of the traffic that you're driving to your website, and how are you utilizing DSP and its ability to target audiences and lookalike audiences to leverage, the fulfillment aspect of Buy with Prime that's very, very enticing for people who are going on your website. Am I going too fast? Is this making sense, guys? Hopefully.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. Okay, next slide. So with Buy with Prime, those who are, is this a repeat of the last one? Drive traffic, performance tracking. Okay, we'll go anyway. So you can drive shoppers to your website, letting them know you can browse the products. All of that stuff is online. It's pretty seamless, like what we talked about. You work with JP, you work with Andrew. Everybody goes on the website. It's a pretty smooth process. They know that it's going to be fulfilled. It's going to be at the door. The thing that I want to focus on really is the second one here, right? We know that the traffic is going to be great. They're going to complete the purchase with Buy with Prime. They know that it's going to be seamless because the experience with buying on Amazon.com is already seamless. The second portion I actually want to focus on here is really how you can monitor performance. And DSP gives you a lot of tools where you can track how well your ad campaigns are doing in real time. You're able to monitor key performance metrics or KPIs like click-through rates, conversion rates, and you're able to actually see how many people are clicking your ads and making a purchase. Understanding that purchasing journey from Amazon to your website, utilizing Buy with Prime, based on these insights, you can actually make really effective adjustments on the fly to improve your DSP campaigns. Now, whether that's retargeting shoppers or that didn't buy for the first time or fine-tuning your audience segments, all of that gets better the more you're running these programmatic ads. And I'm sure you're all questioning, does this thing work? Is returning to Amazon to get my traffic back to a website kind of seems like a conflict of interest, but actually it's not. So if we take a look at some of the numbers, if we go to the next slide here, what is the what is the return on ad spend metric that we're looking at on average? So DSP delivers a pretty strong return on ad spend. In fact, over 80% of merchants, similar to the ones that are on this webinar right now, who have used DSP with Buy with Prime have met or even exceeded their ROAS goals. This means that for every dollar spent, I think the metric there is 80% saw an increase either meeting or exceeding their ROAS goals. So if we were to just stop right there, is DSP an effective way to get a good return on my ads, especially if I'm utilizing Buy with Prime? Well, according to 80% of merchants, answer is yes. Great. What about traffic and sales boosts, specifically around tentpole events like Prime Day, which is coming up, Cyber 5? So during major events like Prime Day, brands have seen exceptional results. So there's one case study where this brand Wise, a smart home brand, they achieved a 20x ROAS, and they doubled their click-through rates because they utilized DSP. They sent shoppers to the website specifically around this tentpole event. So similarly to how you would adjust your marketing and your strategy digitally around events, whether it's a holiday, whether it's a seasonal peak, DSP can be leveraged that way in conjunction with Buy with Prime to get some really fantastic results. And then lastly, we could probably talk for 2 hours about Amazon Marketing Cloud and the advanced analytics and queries you can run, but essentially AMC allows you to target even better than what DSP traditionally could do. The way that I usually do it when I talk at conferences is sponsored display is like a magnifying glass, DSP is like a telescope, and utilizing AMC is like the microscope that allows you to be absolutely more specific on who you're trying to target. And essentially utilizing things like AMC in conjunction with DSP ads is a level of precision that can only increase your sales. If you look at that number there, 40% sales boost just by being able to understand exactly who they're targeting. Right? We're not like throwing money out the window and assuming that DSP is going to magically find these customers. It's based on data. It's based on first-party data that's coming from Amazon, and it's already part of a feedback loop that you've established with Buy with Prime that gives them that confidence that when these high-intent shoppers go to your website, they can actually purchase with a lot of confidence. Okay. I know I've talked for about 28 hours now. I'm going to go to my last slide, which is actually a really quick case study that's specifically around Quartile providing some ad strategy to a brand that came to us that started doing PPC, then we started leveraging DSP, and then we added Buy with Prime, and here's what the results were. So I'm just going to read this case study real quickly. So in early 2024, a really large international bedding manufacturer was looking to strike a better balance between Amazon and their D2C sales. Right. In February of this year, they partnered with us to manage their PPC and their DSP campaigns, and soon after, they started seeing a really strong year-over-year growth. Great. Of course, we don't want to stop there. We want to be complacent. So we encouraged by the success to have them try Buy with Prime. Okay, what's Buy with Prime? Well, actually, you can set it up on your website with the Amazon inventory you already have right now. It's pretty straightforward. So they wanted to test it using DSP ads to drive traffic, not just to Amazon, but obviously back to their own website as well. So we started doing that in July, so about 2 or 3 months ago. And they officially launched DSP campaigns utilizing Buy with Prime to bring traffic to their website. What was the strategy? Well, initially, Our team was targeting broad interest-based audiences, people searching for related products like sheets, luxury bedding. But actually, as we, like I mentioned in the previous slide, the ability to fine-tune and adjust your DSP strategy, we actually realized that if we focus more of a direct response, a little bit more of a lower funnel tactic and driving immediate sales, we paused the current structure, we adjusted, and instead we started launching remarketing campaigns based off of visitors who had gone to their website. And what the insights that we found on Amazon, that is, was that when we fine-tuned the custom audiences, we were actually looking at personas instead of just people who were interested in sheets, luxury bedding, and so on and so forth. What we found was that there were certain people who were buying that were newly married couples that were interested, that were buying, that were into home improvement and DIY. And so again, like I mentioned, the ability to bring high quality and high intent traffic to Amazon, once you have this first party data and you're working with an ad tech solution provider that's able to parse through this information and not just rely on surface level audiences, luxury bedding can definitely drive sales. People who are interested in sheets can definitely drive sales, but understanding that there's actually a segment of your audience, a segment of your customers that love to do home improvement, that are newly married and that are looking for your product. That's who you want to be able to target dynamically with these ads. And when we did that, and created ads with Buy with Prime, the results are actually pretty good. The CPM under 3, which is an insane number considering the scale in which we were running those ads. Andrew's like, what? Yeah, the overall return on ads.
Get that on Google.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. And I mean, that's not the case for everybody, but here's how we did it, right? PPC first, make sure your PPC is running and healthy. We added DSP. We said, hey, now let's add Buy with Prime. Let's utilize some AMC insights. Let's fine-tune the strategy and look at these custom audiences. Let's look at these personas. And then we start scaling from there. Like ultimately, people who are joining this webinar, right, what we're talking about here is a Q4 tactic that hopefully is a plug and play in terms of what you've already been doing. I definitely don't think Buy with Prime is something that like nobody's done ads before. Nobody's done any ad spend on Amazon before. This is definitely an advanced tactic, which is why I think it's so important to leverage and utilize right now. Is that the opportunity to activate and have Andrew and JP get Buy with Prime on your websites is a relatively easy lift. And considering JP, is the CEO of Amazon and he can wave a magic wand and none of the fees apply anymore. I mean, there's no real cost prohibitive barrier for you to get going. And for us at Quartile, for us, we're really able to get things going. I mean, the window is tight. It's Q4 literally in like 5 days. We can get you up and running on DSP usually in about 2 to 3 weeks. So there's still some time to leverage Q4. But at the end of the day, right, if we're talking about Buy with Prime and we're talking about bringing high intent traffic and shoppers to your website, utilizing ad types like DSP that have proven success utilizing first party data, it's literally a win-win-win, right? The only question really here now is timing and the maturity of your ad strategy and when it makes sense for us to start doing these kind of things. But hopefully that makes sense.
This is where my head goes with this kind of stuff. And I'm kind of just thinking of this now. So JP Martin, let me know if this is possible or not. But obviously in Q4, it's easier to convert people that are a warm audience, right? They're already familiar with your brand. So a lot of people are doing like brand initiative stuff now to educate the market, blah, blah, and then they go to purchase in Q4. If it's their first time purchase though, the chances of them hopping on a subscription are usually slim. Typically if they have the opportunity, they're going to buy one thing, test it out for a little bit, and then they'll decide if they want to subscribe. Obviously, Amazon reducing that kind of barrier to entry. If you were to focus on, obviously ramping up your Amazon sales, it's a single sale, they're not subscribing. Could you then actually leverage DSP to drive people back to your website to incentivize them to sign up for a subscription on the site? I would imagine you can, right? I don't think I'm missing anything there.
I want to say yes, but I won't speak for Amazon.
Yeah, as long as they Buy with Prime.
That's a great use case. I love that.
Because I know, like, obviously everyone and their mother would prefer to have a subscription than anything else, but that barrier to entry is always really tough, and people want to test it. And if they test it on Amazon, you use that as a customer acquisition channel, and then you use DSP to incentivize them to subscribe on your site, right?
Yeah, ultimately, like, I think the wonderful thing about this almost like back and forth feedback loop of, I've been in the space for a minute, similar to, I'm sure, Andrew and JP, right? And there's always this duality of like, hey, is Shopify, is the D2C better than Amazon? Is Amazon better than D2C? I remember being at a conference and the keynote speaker was Gary Vee. And somebody asked him, is it better to launch on Amazon? Is it better to launch on D2C? Which marketplace, which approach is better in terms of building your brand? And his answer was, why are we thinking about it as a this or that? It should be an and. It should be Amazon and DTC. And like this particular strategy is an exact representation. And he said that maybe 4 years ago, before really Buy with Prime took off, or was just really in its inception. I'm not saying Gary Vee is like Nostradamus, but like the strategy and the advice was correct. Why are we thinking of these two marketplaces as siloed, right? The advantages of Shopify and D2C and whatever e-commerce website, primarily Shopify, is that you have control over how you want to present your product. You have control for how you want to brand yourself. Obviously, with Amazon, there's a little more restrictions because it's a different type of marketplace, but you're leveraging the freedom to express yourself and express your brand and to reach customers in the way that you want to on your website. And then now you're leveraging this behemoth of a marketplace that is Amazon that has built its success around the promise of fulfillment. Like, people sometimes forget, like, yes, Amazon is a marketplace you can buy products, but people come back because the products come quick. People come back and they shop again because they know that it's going to get there tomorrow. So you're leveraging the secret sauce that's not so secret about Amazon into the freedom to, without the restrictions of Amazon SOPs, again, earmuffs, JP, but without the restrictions of Amazon's guidelines, to brand however way you want. And then you put that badge on top of that, and then the promise of the product getting there tomorrow. I won't say who, but I'm a huge fan of this esports team. And there's a player on this team that I bought a jersey for. I waited 28 days for that thing to get to my house. Jeez. And then on the day that it said it shipped, it wasn't at my house. We go back and forth with customer service and like, oh yeah, on our end it said that it fulfilled. I go, there's nothing in front of my house. They're like, okay, well, here you go. You can just fill out the refund form and you would get your money back. I'm like, guys, why did I waste a month of my life waiting for this thing that I thought was going to come, and now you're going to just give me a refund? Imagine if it was Buy with Prime. I probably would have bought 20 jerseys. I probably would have bought 30 other things on their merch website because I know it's going to come. I literally am so demotivated from going through that experience again because it's not so much the product, it's the promise of fulfillment that I don't have in that experience that totally turned me off.
I do. I know we're at the end here. I want to get to the end, but I want to jump on that comment too, because the interesting thing is I see brands treat their business as separate channels, like Amazon business versus their D2C business versus wherever else they're at, retail, etc. But the thing that I see that's odd to that is like, but your customers don't treat it that way. Your customers shop with you. They are shopping with you no matter where they decide to buy your stuff. So your customers don't treat you as a siloed business. Why are you doing it? And if as I did that whole story with my wife of like, they're going to shop wherever the hell they want. So like, to actually try to silo all of your data doesn't make any sense because you're ignoring data from other places. Like I've been saying for years that digital marketing is becoming more and more like traditional marketing, in the fact of like, you can't paint the ROI of a billboard. You just can't. You have to, there's kind of a, I don't want to say a gut feeling, but like there's a way to look at the data, but it's not as black and white. And as time goes on and as customers get more and more comfortable shopping in a ton of different places and they have their preferences, they're going to shop wherever they want. You're not going to be able to track all that stuff. I know we're pretty much at time, but if anyone's got any questions, comments, concerns, please let us know. There is the chat in there, the questions, you can put them in there. I did drop a link in here. This is where you can submit for all of this fun stuff. I will also send out an email so that everyone's got it. We've got a couple pieces of content for you between a big old list of automated emails, SMS flows I highly recommend setting up before Q4. Big old list of e-commerce SEO stuff that's very important, especially going into 2025. Actually, that list includes all of the stuff that Google leaked back in May. And then we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 6 or 7 different audits that we're just going to give away for whatever reason. So we've got auditing Buy with Prime. If you're interested in getting Buy with Prime, you could be eligible for us to not only install it for you completely for free, but also get you a CRO audit. The team over at Quartile's got a whole Amazon advertising audit they can do for you. And then we've also got, I think, an SEO, a Google Ads, and a retention audit in there. And then, of course, the beautiful people over at Quartile are giving 40% off their services for 3 months. We're going to try to do, we can't do 30, but we're going to do 20% off the BlueTuskr services.
Come on, do 40.
I know.
Man,
one day when I'm as big as you guys are. The Buy with Prime service fee, the CEO here, JP, is going to waive that for you. And then you're also matching DSP spend. Oh, I forgot about that one. So you're matching up to 3K, potentially up to 3K DSP when they use Buy with Prime, right? Is that how that works?
Exactly. Up to 3K ad spend. So you spend 3K, we'll match it with 3K up to that amount.
I will tell you right now, anybody who's not running DSP, 6K bottom to mid funnel tactics for Q4 is a game changer for you if you've never done DSP before.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're spending 3 and you're getting a free 3 and you're at 6.
Yeah.
I should start selling on Amazon. Hold on. What's going on here?
I can't do quick math, but I mean, I know your case study, I know it's not going to happen for everyone, but it was a $3 CPM, right? So this is $6,000. That's so much people.
It's a wild
Whatever that
amount of
math,
impressions
9,
and like
9,
yeah, just
90,
retargeting and remarketing consideration.
Yeah.
Like you have enough. There's totally enough for you to kind of leverage in Q4 for sure.
It's beautiful, gentlemen. We did it. We made it through. It was a good time. Everyone who watched, we will be sending out a recording in case you guys missed anything. I will also send out an email with that link in case you forget it or you lose it. But obviously, everyone who joined us today, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck in Q4.